This is Carolina Soto reporting from DIS News on Thursday, September 10th, 2015. Joining me here are Olivia Bren and Annie Doherty. I'm looking forward to hearing about the sports this week, Olivia.
There's a lot of exciting stuff going on at the U.S. Open, but more on that later.
And Annie, can we expect good weather this weekend?
Not really. The temperature should stay pretty mild, but it's going to rain throughout the weekend.
Thanks, guys. In today's top story, a Kentucky county clerk was released from jail after spending nearly a week in jail for refusing to issue some same-sex marriage licenses. Kim Davis, a county clerk from Kentucky, was released on Tuesday after refusing to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Despite the United States' recent ruling, Davis argued that issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples was against her religion and core values. Although she was released under the permission of the U.S. District Judge David Bunning, she has been ordered to abide by the Supreme Court ruling on same-sex marriage and to let her deputies continue providing marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Shortly after being released from jail, Davis told reporters that her time in prison was worth it. And according to attorney Matt Staver, she planned not to resume her duties as Rowan County Clerk. Next up, we gain insight into the Danish perspective on sustainable living and environmental awareness. McKenna is on the streets, ready to give us a closer look.
Thanks, Carolina. In 2014, Denmark was ranked second globally for their environmentally friendly practices. This includes meeting the threefold energy challenge of energy security, energy equity, and environmental sustainability. The nation is known for its environmental wellness, and it has become an integral part of Danish culture. Let's see what the locals have to say.
I think some people are very aware of the environment.
Well, we have a lot of focus about the clean water, the recycling and all that.
It's very different, really. Depends on who you are and where you live. A lot of people in the countries get their driver's license as soon as possible to be able to transport yourself. But as soon as you're in the cities, we use bicycles a lot. I basically bicycle everywhere I go.
Yeah.
It's easier and it gets me from point A to point B, and I don't have to wait for buses and stuff like that. Weather really doesn't matter.
Perfect. So how do you think this environmental awareness is part of the Danish culture?
It's getting bigger. Yeah. Definitely getting bigger. But still, because we only really have 3 large cities in Denmark. So in those cities, there's a lot of bikes everywhere.
It's a part of our lifestyle from our childhood and all that, so we're aware of the environment.
And lastly, Denmark has recently increased a lot of its efforts to harvest wind energy. So do you have any thoughts on that, or maybe other ideas about how Denmark could be a more sustainable country?
Well, we don't really have any big falls. We don't have any rivers. We can't really use water that way. The only thing we really do have is wind. But in the country, there's a lot of windmill. I'm from the country myself, and my dad bought a windmill 12 years ago.
I don't think it's a good idea about nuclear, but it's a thing we could do, of course. But it also got a side effect. Well, we don't know everything about nuclear energy yet, so I think wind energy is the best solution for Denmark right now.
Perfect. Thank you for your time. As you can see, here in Denmark, the locals are very proud of the nation's efforts to promote environmental wellness. Back to you, Carolina.
Thanks, McKenna. Great to see that everyone is doing their part to move our nation forward. In business and technology news for the day, Apple has just announced the upcoming release of a few products: the iPhone 6s, 6s Plus, an updated version of Apple TV, the iPad Pro with new Apple Pencil included, and their newest operating system, iOS 9, at a press event yesterday. Failing to impress investors, shares of Apple Inc. were already down about 2% in after-hours trade Wednesday evening. Historically, Apple stocks have soared before product announcements and then begun to fall once the product is presented, so look out for the stock fluctuation later in the month. While consumers may love the new iPhone's 12-megapixel camera, 3D touch technology, rose gold finish, and emergency selfie features, meeting investors' expectations compared to last year's excellent iPhone 6 performance could prove challenging. But for all those interested, pre-order begins for the iPhone at 12:01 a.m. Pacific Time on September 12th. That was the financial news for today. Let's hear from Olivia now for today's sports. Olivia, take it away.
The U.S. Open is about to enter its second and final weekend of tournament play, and the competition has seen no lack of excitement thus far. Last night, Serena and Venus Williams battled it out in a 3-set match in the women's quarterfinals. Serena emerged the victor and will go on to the semifinals against Italy's Roberta Vinci this evening. Should Serena win today and go on to beat the winner of the Panetta Halep semifinal on Saturday, she will be only the 6th player in history to complete a calendar year Grand Slam. On the men's side of the draw, Novak Djokovic will batter Marin Cilic on Friday, and Roger Federer will play Swiss native Stan Wawrinka. The men's final will take place on Sunday in New York at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And now over to Annie Doherty with the latest weather report.
Thanks, Olivia. Today in Odense, we're experiencing some fairly mild weather with a small chance of rain. It'll be partly sunny until 1 o'clock and then mostly overcast for the rest of the day. It's currently 57 degrees and will reach a high of 65 with a 10% chance of rain at around 3 o'clock. Later this week here in Odense, we can expect the temperature to stay fairly warm, falling to around the mid-60s. Despite a few days of sun, there are scattered showers predicted for just about every other day. If you're making weekend plans, be sure to plan around the rain on Friday and Sunday. And while we're experiencing consistent rain here in Denmark, New Hampshire is suffering a drought in the northern region of the state. Despite record levels of snowfall this past winter, New Hampshire is reporting the lowest rain percentages in over 80 years. Authorities say the worry falls on not only the human population for drinking water, but also the potential threat to wildlife. Back to you, Carolina.
Thanks, Annie. For a limited time only, Weston Supermare in Somerset, England, will present Dismaland, an art project portraying an apocalyptic Disney World. Brooke Christopher and Dismaland representative Molly Manis are live in the studio to tell us more about this exhibit.
Thanks, Carolina. I'm here with Molly Manis, a representative from Dismaland, the latest work by reclusive British street artist Banksy. After opening on August 22nd in Somerset, England, the satirical spin on the happiest place on earth has almost been sold out. What kind of environment can guests anticipate upon entering?
Well, I want to leave a few surprises for those who still plan to visit, but the Disneyland experience is nothing you'd expect from your run-of-the-mill amusement park. Our pieces juxtapose innocent ideas with a harsh reality. There's a reason why it's referred to as a amusement park.
Some of the pieces have stirred controversy among visitors due to feelings of delusionment. What is your take on Banksy's dark commentary?
Banksy's work, as well as the work of other featured artists, is left to be interpreted by the visitors themselves. The name Disneyland itself is supposed to set the scene for an unsettling experience, something visitors are to be advised upon entering. Banksy has said himself that it is a family theme park unsuitable for children.
What are some artists that stand out?
Along with the work of Banksy, we feature nearly 60 artists from a total of 17 countries. The artists include everyone from Mike Ross with a piece titled Big Rig Jig to Damien Hirst. But one of the most notable pieces is one of the works produced by Banksy. The piece by Banksy depicts Cinderella's body hanging out of a crashed carriage, with the paparazzi swarming and taking photos.
Why choose Disney?
I believe that the artists see Disney as a force to be reckoned with because it is well known as a utopian place, where there is always a happily ever after. However, Disneyland breaks through the barrier of fantasy into an alternate universe where there's not always a happy ending.
With about 2 weeks until the exhibit closes, more tickets will be available for purchase on their website, disneyland.co.uk. Don't miss out. Back to you, Carolina.
Thanks, Brooke and Molly. I hope to check out Dismaland sometime soon. And finally, some dog owners have described their first moments with their new pets as love at first sight. And after 2 years, owners and dogs are often closer than ever. So imagine the shock one man in China must have felt when he realized that the 2 dogs he adopted 2 years ago were not dogs at all. That is exactly what happened when Wang Kai-yu, a farmer in the Chinese province of Yunnan, recently visited a wildlife protection exhibition and saw 2 animals that looked just like the ones he had at home. Experts confirmed that Wang had unknowingly adopted black bear cubs. The bears are now in a refuge of their own, and Wang is still looking for 2 puppies. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Carolina Soto reporting from DIS News. See you next time.